Nithyananda, and welcome to this very important video, putting together even more pieces of the puzzle in the conspiracy against Paramhamsa Shri Nithyananda. They have both had very close personal relationships with the men who were the conspirators behind the attack against Nithyananda. Monster, who is your ex-husband.
His name is Douglas McCallum. Is when I came to know he is conspiring against Swamiji. He and Vinay both approached me and asked me to put a false allegation against Swamiji.
Vinay Bharadwaj, right after he had approached Mahaprabha for lying about Swamiji, he started to actively pursue this sexual relationship with me.
He knew you were 12 years old.
Yes, of course he knew.
No. The full story of this attack against Swamiji. Up until early 2010, up until you can say early February 2010, Swamiji was like a rising star, not only in the Indian spiritual community, but in India in general. If you went to any of his programs, there would be easily 30,000, 40,000 people in queue, sometimes 2 or 3 days in advance, just for one hug from him. Now, that all changed overnight at the onset of the Kumbh Mela when a fake video was leaked by a group called Sun TV, the now defunct Sun TV, for whom the COO is behind bars. The video that Sun TV played was the video that basically came as the product between the alliance between these three men. And so Douglas and Vinay and Lennon. Now, the way that they morphed this video of the actress Ranjita and made it look like she was in a compromising position with Swamiji, you literally knew that they had the capacity to do that because they threatened they were going to do the same thing with you.
Correct. And my ex-husband is also a graphic designer. By profession, he does that too.
Wow. Wow. Now, what it's boggling my mind, and I'm sure a lot of viewers are also wondering, and I've seen this comment on Facebook, a lot of people, myself included, up until very recently, had no idea that we actually know who the conspirators are. For example, I thought Sun TV was behind the whole thing because they wanted to extort money. I didn't realize there was a whole other group of people trying to extort money. Now, I understand that after being put on trial for his actions against you, Vinay Bharadwaj tried to kind of divert the attention off of himself as a convicted child molester. He tried to divert that attention onto Swamiji. What claim did he make at that time to try to pass off the attention?
In order to run away desperately from the allegations made against him and what later would be his prison sentence, he accused and falsely accused Swamiji of sexually abusing and molesting him later on in 2006 and 2005. So actually, when he did not find a victim to say something against Swamiji, he himself had lied and come and said some lies about Swamiji in a civil case in Los Angeles. So clearly here he's desperately trying to...
So he tries to force a 12-year-old girl to claim that Swamiji had had sex with her. She refused. He tries to force the wife of one of his friends to claim that she had had sex with Swamiji. She refused. Finally, he can't find a female victim, so he pretends he's a victim.
Yeah.
At the time, how old was he?
At the time, he was 30, 33.
And Swamiji was in his 20s. Now, by legal definition, a molestation is when someone preys on someone else who is weak, preys on someone who is vulnerable. Is he an educated man, this Vinay?
Very well educated.
Yeah.
Very well educated.
He went to Indian Institute of Technology.
Oh, so he's educated as an engineer. and he's older than Swamiji.
Mhm.
Was he physically inept in some way? Was he wheelchair bound? Was he crippled? So, how is it that a fully competent, educated, older, and physically healthy man could be molested by a younger male,
Not educated. in the
not
same sense.
educated? Swamiji refers to himself as a simple village boy from Tamil Nadu. How could a simple village boy from Tamil Nadu molest an older, educated man? It's not possible. So I think for me personally, that detail itself is clear enough evidence that he was so desperate to try to make Swamiji out in a bad light that if he couldn't find a fake victim, he would make himself a fake victim.
Mhm.
But that ultimately didn't work. Nobody believed his story.
And
So
the
then
fact,
what did...
the fact that he was already charged with and sent to prison by the time they went to court in Los Angeles and went to trial definitely hindered his process in putting that case against Swamiji.
Okay. So then we skip forward a little while. The morphed video they created with Ranjita hits the air, and India basically goes crazy. People try to burn brahmacharis alive in this campus. Reporters are instigated to try to tear the saris off brahmacharis and catch them in unflattering pictures to make it look like something devious is going on here. They didn't leave it at that, did they? They continued to pursue fake victims, and they finally caught one. Now, we in India are all familiar with the false accusations put forth by one liar named Arti Rao. We know for a fact she's lying because she's disease-riddled. She's so contagious that her own medical report states if she even just touches her lips, she can pass on herpes. The dates that she claims Swamiji raped her in this ashram, Swamiji himself wasn't even physically in the ashram, he was traveling. And yet a lot of people are listening to her stories. What I'm wondering is there any way that we can link these two cases? The two who tried to coerce the both of you into lying, the two who created the fake video of Ranjita.
Yeah.
Did they have any contact with Arti Rao?
Right. In July of 2009, this is simultaneously why he's trying to manipulate and completely brainwashed me. And I had just turned 13 at that time. Simultaneously, he's trying to find other victims because the more victims he has, the stronger case he has.
Do you know he approached other women?
Yes, and he had only later I had found out that at the time he approached, he had called Arti Rao on the phone, and at the time she was known as Premeshwari Mai here in India. He had called her, asked her, do you know that Swamiji is having sex? Do you know that there are other female sannyasis or females who are saying this? And he was particularly saying Sri Prabha, which was
My ex-husband, Douglas McKellar.
particularly saying that he knows this and he's going to do something about it. He says those exact sentences to Arti Rao, and immediately her first reaction is to refuse entirely, and not only that, she sends an email reporting all of this to the secretary of Swamiji at the time, refusing completely.
What did she say in that email to the secretary?
She said she lets the secretary know that she feels that there are disgruntled people, ex-members of the foundation, who for whatever reason want to take revenge on Swamiji, and she agrees with the fact that a scandal or something like this that he is planning is going to be extremely dangerous to the entire name of Swamiji at the time, because she also recognizes Swamiji's name was very high and growing, and she recognized that people would do this for money. So in this case, it clearly shows that though later on Arti Rao was convinced, perhaps by Lenin Karpan, whom she had a relationship with, she initially refused this completely, showing that her allegations against Swamiji are completely false.
Absolutely.
Just changing your story like that does not happen to a real victim,
No.
and I can say so for a fact.
Yes, of course. And see, the other thing is, if she was a victim in any way whatsoever, when they approached her, maybe she would have said no, maybe she would have said yes, depending on her own reasons, her own fears, her own, sense of morality at the time, her own moral compass. But certainly, if she was a victim, whether she said yes or no to those who were planning this attack, she definitely wouldn't have sent an email to tip off Swamiji's secretary and inner circle. A rape victim would not notify the rapist, hey, watch out, people are onto you. So, that email, do we still have a copy of this?
Yes, and
Wow.
we can show it. We can show everyone right now how Aarti is saying to the secretary that she is very concerned about Swamiji. She's very concerned about his safety, and she's very concerned about his future mission. Speaking clearly that she cared about this mission.
Yes, and she cared about him.
And that she cared about him. Suddenly, what happened?